as the Organization of Islamic Cooperation Summit extraordinary meeting has caused our friends to arrive at our country, they happen to be among us now as well. I would like to salute them with respect and gratitude and affection. My brothers and sisters, the cause of Jerusalem is ours all. And Mr. Bahçeli and the chairman of Grand Unity Party and all the chairmen who happen to be here today, I would like to thank them for being sensitive to the incidents that are happening in our country and in our region. I also send my gratitude and most hearted greetings to everybody who follows our organization today. We have gathered here to commemorate the Mecca where our Kaaba is located, and in Medina where people are mourning for their loss in the fight against Israel. Our soldiers and their families in Gaza, in Palestine, I salute them with affection. They stand against the tyranny of Israel, assisted by the strong will in their hearts. I sent them my affections, and I am sending my condolences for any soldiers who have lost their lives in this sacred fight, in this sacred objection, and the injured who have wounded against Israel fight. I wish immediate cure for them. And the victim Palestine society, I salute them with affection. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. My brothers, do you know that Jerusalem is not only a city? Jerusalem is a symbol as well. It is an examination. Jerusalem is our Qibla. If we fail to protect our first Qibla, how shall we determine the future of our latest Qibla? I have to be honest with you. The world of Islam is going through an examination of Jerusalem, and I regret to say that we are failing.
Inshallah.
Hopefully, inshallah, it will come soon. And it's not only the Islamic world, but for the whole humanity. They have failed, we have failed in this examination. My brothers, our poem says that first they invaded the Jerusalem, which is in our hearts, and we lost this war between ourselves. As the Muslims, ever since the Jerusalem within our hearts was occupied, we started to fail to fight against it. The Ottoman Empire, for 4 centuries, held Jerusalem and accepted it as the peaceful symbol of all sacred religions. The Ottoman Empire, who was defeated in the First World War, lost Jerusalem along with many other cities. Ever since that day, Jerusalem has never seen peace again. The structure of the city, who respected all religions, disrupted quickly, and the sacred parts for Muslims and for Christians have entered the threat of the Jewish, of Israel. My brothers, again, as the poem says, O Kudus, O Jerusalem, O the city of sorrow, O the city who is crying, who is dropping tears, who will stop your foes. O Jerusalem, the pearl of cities, who will wipe the blood on your walls? And the grounds of Palestine and the walls of Jerusalem have never been cleared of blood ever since the First World War. According to the decree of United Nations, Kudus was supposed to be a city with a special status. But this decree was violated with the occupation of Palestine and the exile of the societies in Jerusalem that started in 1967. The United Nations was silent against the unfair and injustice and immoral occupation of Israel over Jerusalem. They only watched it, and day by day were relatively the partners of this occupation. So the reason that I say the world is greater than 5 is this. Otherwise, the world is looking the lips of the United States and what it will utter. There is only tyranny for the United States. That's why we say long live hell for the tyrants. And today, against the steps that were taken by the United States, were failed to be objected justly by the United Nations, and they contributed to the disruption of fairness and justice. The occupation of Jerusalem by Israel, only 2 years after, a group of Jewish burned Al-Aqsa Mosque. It should have been the last drop of our patience. These were the acts of Zionists, and we are facing a fight against Zionism. And this kind of a disaster, unfortunately, was not enough for the Muslims to pull themselves back together. Of course, I differentiate Israel and the Jewish and the Zionists. The real fight is against the Zionists. Otherwise, we don't have anything against Jewish people. But the acts of Zionism is unforgivable. The Prime Minister of Israel of today expressed his feelings of the day in 1969. He said that he couldn't sleep till morning with the fear that the Muslims would occupy Al-Aqsa Mosque. But there was the morning and nothing had happened. That's when he understood that Israel was free to do what they wanted to do. This is the bitter truth that we are facing, my brothers and sisters. And of course, along with all these, my friends, the previous speakers, Mr. Bahçeli, Mr. Destici, Mr. Yıldırım, or Mr. Kahraman also have uttered that. I would like to repeat, I have dreamt about Al-Aqsa Mosque. It was like a child, and it was crying. I put my hand on his forehead, and it was like an underground river. I am waiting along the path, and I'm asking why my brothers are. Where is all the folks whose first Qibla was Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa Mosque. Have they forgotten Al-Aqsa Mosque? Our tongues have not forgotten, but our actions have. My brothers, since 1947, Israel is free in this region. And they are tactless, and they are ruthless, and they continue whatever they feel like to. This reality cannot be undone. And with the latest decree of the United States about moving its embassy to Jerusalem, we were assaulted, we were insulted. And Jerusalem is falling in the hands of radical Zionists. And their boots are making Al-Aqsa Mosque dirty. And we, Muslims, cannot do anything apart from condemning it. Actually, we have some examples of how we fought for Jerusalem before. Umar the Caliph occupied Jerusalem without any drops of blood shed or spilled. This is the case for the Ottoman Empire as well, but their common point was that they had a huge army who was willing to die for them. Centuries later, the Crusaders collected huge armies and they entered in the grounds of Anatolia, but they lost because their armies were not passionate. And the Seljukians were very determined, and they never held themselves back from fighting against the Crusaders. When the Crusaders' army entered the Jerusalem city, they slaughtered all the Muslims and the Jewish in the city. Selahattin Eyyubi reconquered Jerusalem many years ago, but he never killed anyone. The Jerusalem city, the house of God, and Al-Aqsa Mosque, when these are under occupation, we cannot sleep because our forefathers did not. And this has been the symbol for the fight against Jerusalem, against Israel, for the occupation in Jerusalem in the long years after that. So the other party is marching forward Jerusalem with blood in their hands. But the Muslims have succeeded to defeat them in the past without harming anyone. And this wave of the attack happens to be in Dardanelles, in Çanakkale Strait as well. In Çanakkale War, they tried to shield themselves from our bullets with steel tongues, but they failed. So mind this, all these examples, the tyrants are attacking us with 100% of their power, and our only response was not praying or was not shedding tears. Consent to tyranny equals to tyranny. So regardless of the weapons, regardless of the technology, regardless of all the power that the foes have, the Muslims fought back. We shall put our bodies as shields before the foes and enemies. Only then the days that were promised to us, that were the days of independence, will be realized. We took Çanakkale yesterday.
yüreklerin
and we will take Jerusalem tomorrow.
ve canların ortaya konduğu bir mücadele elbette
The fight
zaferle sonuçlanacaktır.
that we put our hearts into will definitely result with victory.
Dualarımıza,
This is what we lack today. If we add
bileklerimizin gücünü eklemediğimiz sürece
the power of our hearts and arms,
çünkü hak, hukuk,
we can stop
zalim,
the tyrants then.
sözde
Because they know no justice, they know no law, and they would never understand from anything of advice
sürekli
and recommendation and consolidation.
olmayan zalimin anladığı tek
They are tyrants and they only know the language of power and strength.
şayet tüm dünya, tüm Müslümanlar
The whole world and the whole world of Islam,
inanın bana
if we fail to unite,
lobilerin desteği tek başına
believe me,
İsrail'in
we will know no boundaries
yeterli olmaz.
and Israel will know our authority. My brothers and sisters, we shall never forget
Akif
that Mehmet Akif Ersoy,
Salih
who wrote our national anthem, described our situation the best way.
asırlarca
For
süren
years,
sudan
for centuries, we were sleeping.
içinde
We have to stop
yak yık.
this snooze and we have to stand against the tyrants. The skies, the heavens are awake, the grounds, the earth are awake. The world is awake. If you sleep, then it makes no sense.
Milletlere sensin yine illet.
Shame upon this.
Ey derdi cehalet.
Oh, ignorance.
Bu millet
This nation is falling towards you.
ne din kaldı?
And ignorance puts us in such shape
Sineyi
that we know no religion
kapkara
and we know no morality.
ey
This is a dark nightmare
seni
that we have to face today. We have to kill this first. Because ignorance is our actual enemy. And the disaster of ignorance is the thing that the Islamic world is facing today. And it is our sole responsibility to pick the Islamic world from this hole of ignorance. We all share this duty.
Yenikapi meydanı
So the square of Yenikapi, we know the spirit.
biz 7 Ağustos'ta da burada mıydık?
We were here in the 7th of August.
15 Temmuz'un
We were here
abi için burada mıydık?
for
Unutmayın.
commemorating 15th of July. So we shall not forget. This square
Yerimiz olacaktır.
is and will always be our point of meeting,
Kendi
our point of gathering.
birliğimizi
And first, we have to provide unity among ourselves.
edeceğiz ki
Only then
karşı
we will have the upper hand against the tyrants.
açık konuşacağım.
I will be honest with you.
Müslümanlar
The Muslims
aralarındaki çatışmalarda,
are so busy with the fights and conflicts and disputes among themselves.
ne kadar tahammülsüzse
So they are intolerant and they are merciless
o derece
against each other. But
cesaretsiz,
as
korkak
intolerant they are towards themselves, they are shy against their enemies. This is what I have found out about Islamic world. Am I right?
öyle ki
I'm not.
içimize sokulmuş
So we shall do what's necessary.
dahi engellemeyi
And
başaran
all the project terroristic organizations
DAEŞ denen bir
and Daesh,
soruyorum size.
it is a terroristic organization within our region.
Döktü.
So whose blood
Bile inletti.
did Daesh spill?
Yerini yerle eksan etti.
Whose cities did Daesh burn?
Sadece Müslümanları
Whose lives did Daesh take?
sadece
Only
Müslümanlara
Muslims.
zulmetti. Bu örgüt
Only and
sadece
only
İslamcı olarak
Muslims
dünyasına
and the
saldırdı.
Islamic region.
Ya bu örgütle mücadele
So this
için
terroristic organization
dört bir
is
yanından gelen güçler
a project,
coğrafyamızı işgal etti.
and Daesh is the reason that the powers, superpowers from all four corners of the world occupied our geography, our region. So Daesh, FETÖ, and all the terroristic organizations, they are only projects. And the picture that they draw prove us that their sole purpose is to disrupt the unity of Islam's, preparing our lands for a potential occupation. So, if they can so easily occupy Jerusalem today, if they can so easily kill our brothers and sisters in Palestine,
Budur. İslam dairesi içinde olan
they are taking this power
Müslüman sıfatı taşımak
from the inferior status
öyle kolay değil.
of the Islamic world.
Ama biz bu işi
So it is a difficult duty that Turkey shoulders today.
ve
It is a very difficult job actually
çok önemli
to
bir
possess the folks of Islam,
diyen herkesin
and we have to emphasize that any person who would utter themselves
olması gerekir.
as Muslims needs to understand this well.
Sizden
Our Prophet Muhammad says that if any one of you
onu
sees a bad deed happening,
buna güç yetiren
then you have to change it.
diliyle değiştirsin.
If you fail to
Buna da güç
change it physically, you should use your tongue to change it. If you fail to use your tongue to change it, then wish for it to change with your heart.
Bugün Müslümanlar
This
olarak
is what our Prophet says. But today, as Muslims, just leave aside changing the world with our hands, with physically. We fail. So leave aside changing the bad deeds with our tongue. We fail it as well.
kalpler
And also about that,
Müslümanların
we do not even wish to change it.
teslim ettiği husus
We have to
Kudüs
change
meselesi.
this first. We have to change ourselves first.
Saldırılarına karşı savunan Filistinli kardeşlerimizi
The folks of Palestine who are fighting their own lands against Israel, if we leave them, if we put them aside, we can ask which Muslim is trying to change the bad deeds into good deeds.
dillerinin dahi lal olduğu böyle bir meseleyi
So this
sadece
issue
onları hapsetmek,
that is actually belonging to
o zayıf
the
iman
whole Islamic
iddiasıyla
world.
yüz yüze bırakır.
Can you believe that they don't care about us?
Bir şairimiz çok
My
güzel
dear
ifade
brothers, this is very well summarized
ediyor. Tur dağını
in a
yaşa,
poetry
bilesin nerede
of
Kudüs.
our lands.
Ben Kudüs'ü
If you get on the mountains, you will know where Jerusalem is. Jerusalem is my watch that I wear on my arm.
bu
If
suda
your watch is not set for Jerusalem, then you cannot know the time.
anne
And if you turn a blind eye to Jerusalem, you cannot be a mother.
bir Kudüs
If you
yapar.
become a mother, you are the person who creates the Jerusalem city out of a child.
Adam baba olunca
A man
içinde bir Kudüs canlanır.
has Jerusalem inside when he becomes a father. So walk on, my brother. Walk with the strength of Jerusalem on your feet.
Ayaklarımızdaki
So
Kudüs
let's
gücüyle
come together,
bu zulme
and with the
karşı
strength of Jerusalem on our feet, let's march together.
durmayalım.
Let's not stop at all.
Yürümeye sürekli olarak devam edelim.
And we should continuously walk on this path and let someone see this.
Müslümana umutsuzluk
Because
Rabbimin
hopelessness does not become the Muslims.
üzülmeyin.
We should know no vulnerability. We should not be upset. If you have faith,
Sizsiniz.
you are the superior.
İşte bu ilahi müjdeye
This
layık olabilmek
is
için
the revelation that we have,
Müslümanlara diyoruz
and
ki
we have to deserve it. That's why we tell all the Muslims, let's
zalimlerin
come
karşısına
and unify. Let's be all together and fight the tyrants with one hand, with one strong fist. The moment when we overcome the conflicts among us, the day will come when the tyrants start to fear from us.
Müslümanların
Jerusalem,
kurtuluşunun
hopefully,
vesilesi olacaktır.
will be the reason
Üzerimizdeki
of the salvation of all Muslim folks.
Kudüs davasına sahip çıkarak
And by possessing
inanıyorum.
the Jerusalem course, I believe that we can put ourselves back together. Our Prophet Muhammad,
Kutsal şehri
when he ascended the heavens, it was in Jerusalem.
ve Selahaddin Eyyubi'nin mirasını sahipsiz
It's Ali and Umar, the caliphs,
Filistinli kardeşlerimiz
and the heritage of Selahaddin Eyyubi. We will not leave it to Israel.
yerine getirdiler.
Our brothers and sisters in Palestine, they served well until now.
700 milyon
But from this day
Müslümana
on, as
Kudüs nöbetini
Muslims whose number reaches up to 1.7 billion have to handle this situation. We have to shoulder this situation as of today.
nöbeti almaya hazır mıyız?
Are you ready to take on this shift?
Almaya hazır mıyız?
Are you ready to take on the watch?
Bu
Thanks.
vesileyle bir kez daha
Therefore,
Kudüs'ün işgalini Mescid-i Aksa'nın
the
mahremiyetini
occupation of Jerusalem, the violation of privacy of the Alaska Mosque,
kabul etmeyecek
and the violation of the rights of the folks of Palestine, we declare that we will not accept this.
taşıma kararıyla
And the decree of the United States to move their embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem,
tartışmaya yer bırakmayacak
we say
şekilde
that it is a declaration of taking sides and it's against the decree of the United Nations.
sorun çözmeden yana değil,
The United States
sorun üretmekten yana
are not trying to solve the problems, but they do nothing else to produce more problems.
organı olan
And the executive organ of the United Nations, the Security Council, is blocked by the United States, and it's the only country to do that.
Birleşmiş Milletler Genel Kurulu'nun kararları
So the General Assembly of the United Nations and their decrees upon Jerusalem is, since 1947, is not recognized by Israel.
Milletler Genel Kurulu kararı
So a new General Assembly decree by the United Nations
sermesi bakımından
is important in terms of showing what's right and wrong in this region.
hazırlanıyoruz.
So this is what we are preparing for today.
Zirve dönem başkanı
The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, as the term chairman, we have called the member countries for a summit in Istanbul, and I'm
katliam
on my way to this summit after my speech here.
üzerinde kalan
The last slaughter is the actual proof of the violation of the relative decrees about Jerusalem as of today.
devlet terörünün
So the state terrorism that is applied by Israel, if we fail to stop this,
seni güvende ise
then the world will become a place where no one feels safe.
gerek
That's why
Birleşmiş Milletler gerek
whether the United Nations or OEC
uluslararası
or other international
tek tek tüm
institutions
İsrail zulmüne
or
karşı
all the states individually,
koymalarının zamanı gelmiş.
it's time for all of us to have a physical stance against Israel. So I'm calling upon all my Muslim brothers and all the humanity actually,
Eseri, kararlar,
leave the fanatism of your religions and open your eyes for the ones who are dragging our world for a catastrophe. I'm calling upon you from the square of Yenikapi.
düzen. Zalimlerin oyuncağı olmaya
There is a global order
hiçbir ülkenin
that knows no human rights.
uluslararası
No state, no country, or no international institution shall put itself in the position of an Israeli toy. All the religions,
ev sahipliği yapan
all the sacred religions
fanatik Siyonistlerin
entitled Jerusalem as a sacred city for them.
Müslümanıyla
That's why the Muslims, the Christians,
özellikle Musevisiyle
and the
mücadele ediyor.
logical and concise Jewish people, we call them
Kendilerini
for this fight.
harekete geçmeye
The government of Israel
Holocaust
should understand what they are causing.
devletlerinin bir başka
A folk,
karşı işlediği
a victim of an Holocaust,
rıza
is unbelievable to commit a similar crime against another nation today.
göstermesi konusunda
So the society in the United States,
dediğini düşünüyorum.
we think they are
Terör örgütleri
insufficiently informed about these incidents in the world.
hususunda
So, about this terroristic state, Israel, and all the decrees that the United States makes upon them will backfire one day.
vesileyle Amerikan halkına da
Thereby, I would like to call upon the folk of the United States
yapıyorum.
to raise their voices against the governance.
Gereken asıl konu şu.
And there is a main incident that we have to emphasize on as well, my dear brothers and sisters. What we will do.
Diplomatik kanalları çalıştırarak
Turkey will activate the diplomatic channels, and also with the concrete steps that it's taking, will
hep göstermiş bir ülkedir.
definitely show where it stands when it comes to Palestine and Jerusalem issues. We have also put forward our side
En çok
after the latest incidents as well.
olması
Turkey is the country that is targeted most by Israel, and the leader that is targeted most by Israel is me.
tabii
So this shows that we are on the right path.
hedef alıyorsa
If the person who is governing Israel, if his criticism is targeting me, it means that I'm not in the wrong way.
bir şeye inanıyoruz.
But what we believe is
Libe illallah.
that La ilahe illallah.
Olan ancak
The victorious is the God only.
kadar elinde nükleer silah olsun.
The more nuclear weapons they possess,
Olmayan silahların olsun.
the more weapons that are unique
Rabbimin
in their hands.
silahıdır. Ve
The actual weapon is the weapon of the God, is the weapon of Allah.
ve biz bununla bu yolda
And we know this.
Onlar hangi
And we have this behind ourselves as support. So the tricks that are set by them does not matter. The biggest tricks, the biggest traps
biz ecdadımız gibi
are fixed by Allah.
bildiğimiz değerler uğrunda
And
gerektiğinde canımız pahasına
in accordance with our
etmekten kaçınmayalım.
sacred values, we will never hesitate to fight against. We will never hesitate to give our lives against. We have exemplified this many times in history.
Kudüs konusunu da bizim için
The issue of Jerusalem is equally important for us. In this fight for Jerusalem, we will be proud
bu yanlış adımlarından
to lead the Muslims
akıtılan masum kanlarının
and all the innocent blood that's spilled by Israel will be answered by them. And until then, our fight will endure.
kez daha İsrail zulmüne
Today,
karşı direnen Filistinli
I would like to commemorate again our Palestinian brothers who are continuously fighting against Israel. And I am inviting all the Muslims in the world to resurrect, to awaken from their dreams, to stand up
insanlığı herkes için
and to stand against to the threat for the humanity that's done by Israel. This is unfair. This is unjust. And we have to act upon this. With this cause, we have gathered OSCE to Istanbul. And a moment later, we will pass to the summit meeting. And this evening, we will issue a declaration of results by OSCE, and we will have a joint decision about this issue. Thereby, I would like to invite you for support for the project of supporting all the member states of OSCE. We hope that our brothers and sisters in Palestine will see the day of independence for Palestine, and we hope that this day is very soon. All our brothers and sisters who are here today and who are following us in press and media, thank you for the joy, thank you for your passion. I'm grateful. The salvation from the hell, the salvation for the humanity is hidden in the month of Ramadan. I congratulate it. From all four corners of the world, we have our brothers who are yearning for peace and solution. I hope this month will bring them that. I would like to thank Mr. Bahçeli, Mr. Destici, and the chairman of Turkish Grand National Assembly, and our Prime Minister, and all the member states of OSCE who have participated to today's rally. I'm grateful. I hope God Almighty will be beside us. And don't forget Rabia. And don't forget one nation, one flag, one land, and one state. This is our motto. I hope our unity will prevail. Our day and our days in this month shall be Mubarak. Thank you very much.